Hello. Welcome to ActionNET tutorial provided by Spin. In today's video, you'll learn more about the Edit menu. This menu consists of 8 submenus. We'll talk about each one specifically. In Tags submenu, Objects tab, the main function is create and modify project tag settings. In Templates, you can create, delete, and modify templates, which are structure type tags. In Assets, you can organize the tags by levels. The Historian tab represents a database to record changes in tags, and Historian tables, the tables where these records are stored. In the Security submenu, Users tab, you can create and configure project users. In Permissions, you define what each permission can do. In Policies, you define the security policies, and, in Runtime Users, you can check the users created by the script command during project execution. Let's go to ActionNET for better understanding of these two submenus. To create a new tag, simply enter name and settings in fields. You can choose several types for your tag. Besides that, there are other tag configuration options. To show everything, right-click on the menu. The new options will appear. To create a new template, just click New and enter a name. Put the tags you want in this template. They can have different types. Then, returning to Objects, you can already create a new tag using this new template type. To access these tags from this template, first access the tag of this template type, and then the other tags will appear, as shown. In Assets, you can create different levels for tags. Right-click and choose New Level. Rename it. Then go back to Objects tab and set this level to your tag. When you return to Assets tab again, the chosen tag will already be appearing. In Historian, you can associate the desired tag with the table. Note that this tab also has right-click options. And, in Historian table, you can create new tables with the desired settings. In Security, you can create and modify users of the project. There are already users by default in ActionNET. There are also more options on the menu. In Permissions, you can define what each permission can do. Just check or uncheck the checkboxes. In this tab you cannot create new ones, but you can rename the other permissions to suit your needs. In Policies, you can change the security policy settings. And in Runtime Users, you view users created during project execution. If you want to change users, simply click on the key symbol, enter the login and password of the desired user and click OK. In the Devices submenu, Channels tab, you can configure channels and protocols. In nodes, you can create nodes using previously created channels. In points, tags are mapped to points in field. And in access types, you can configure the default types, which are read, read-write, and write, and also create new ones. In the Alarm submenu, Groups tab, you can define the behavior of an alarm group. In areas, the alarms are divided by areas. And in items, it is possible to put conditions and limits to generate alarms. In Datasets, DBs tab, you can configure databases. In Tables, you can configure access to database tables. In Queries, you configure access to database lines, and in Files, configures database files. Let's go to ActionNET for better understanding of these three submenus. ActionNET supports several types of protocols. If you have any doubts, just click on it, and then on Help button. That a PDF file containing information about this protocol will appear. To create a new channel, click Create New, configure it, and then click OK. You can also configure some details of each protocol and protocol options. In nodes, you can create new nodes using the already created channels. This tab also configures the primary station and the backup station. The backup is only used when primary station does not communicate anymore. In points, you can relate tags to the points in field. To do this, just enter the node and the address. In access types, you can configure the default ActionNET types or create a new one. In Alarm submenu, Groups tab, you can use groups that already exists by default from ActionNET or create others. There are options to choose whether there will be recognition, sound, colors, among others. In areas, you can sort and organize alarms by areas. To do this, simply enable this option in the Items menu. In Items, tags are associated with the alarm conditions, limit, group and message. In Datasets, you can choose different databases provider types supported by ActionNET. Configure them and give the provider a name. By clicking on Test, you can test if it is possible to find the database you want. In Tables, you can access tables of databases. When you choose the database, ActionNET already finds the available tables. You can also map columns of tables with your project tags. In queries, just choose Database and put the SQL statement. In Files, you can configure the file settings. In Scripts submenu, Tasks tab, you can execute scripts through a trigger. In the Classes tab, access or implement classes. On the Code Editor tab, there's a code editor where you can modify tasks and classes codes. In Expressions, you can create new expressions without necessarily creating a new code in Code Editor. In Displays submenu, Displays tab, you can view and configure project displays. In Layouts, you can modify the layout that is displayed. And in Resources, all the images used in project are shown. In Reports submenu, Reports tab, you can create and configure new reports. The Text Editor tab contains a text editor for your reports. Let's go to ActionNET for better understanding of these three submenus. You can create a new one or change existing tasks. To change them, double-click on it and the code will open in the Code Editor tab. The same goes for classes. Code Editor supports two languages, VB.NET and C#. There's the option of automatically switching code to one language to another. However, mistakes can happen, so check your project by clicking Build. If any errors occur, they will be shown below. In Expressions, you can create new expressions. The example expression is that the tag test will always be equal to 1, when tags.tag1 is equals 2. When you're finished, click on Compile button to check for possible errors. In Displays submenu, you can check all your displays and also configure them. In Layouts, you can change the layout of these displays. To do this, simply choose Display Order by the arrows and by location, if it's center, right or left. You can also add new displays or remove them. In Resources, you can see the images used in the project. In Reports submenu, you can create new reports by choosing your directory and extension. And in Text Editor, Editor Reports, you can add images, tags, tables, symbols and others. Thank you very much for your attention. See you in the next ActionNET tutorial video provided by Spin. If you have any question, please contact us.